Hello, welcome to Tritons Go, a wellness game that will help you improve your well-being throughout the year. My name is Heather Lockwood, and I'm a Workstrong coordinator here at UCSD. Workstrong is a program that provides services to employees who have been injured on the job. The program goal is to reduce the chance of further injury through helping participants make lifestyle changes, such as maintaining a fitness routine. In order to maximize the effectiveness of Workstrong, I spend a good amount of time thinking about how to help people create behavior and lifestyle changes. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the science behind behavior change and what it suggests we should do to make long-lasting behavior change. A large part of purposeful behavior change is about forming new habits and giving up old habits. Before getting into this process, I'm going to take a moment to discuss why we even form habits and what is the purpose. We form habits because we have to. Without it, we likely would not have survived as a species. A small group of cells near the base of the brain, called the basal ganglia, is responsible for habit formation. It is constantly trying to take the things that we do and distill them into an optimized sequence that uses the least amount of cerebral energy possible. Much like optimizing a computer algorithm, your brain wants to use your cerebral resources wisely. Think about how much energy your brain uses when you study for an important test, prepare for an intensive deadline, or plan a big event like a wedding. Often, these take over your awareness, leaving little room for anything else. Our entire existence would feel like that without this tendency for our brain to create habits. Without this optimization, we would be unable to do things that seem very simple or natural, like walk and talk at the same time. Of course, with this constant focus on optimizing everything for saving energy, we run the risk of forming unintended and possibly unhealthy habits in the long run. Therefore, other parts of our brain must mitigate this risk. If we look at passive habit formation, it is the alignment of a cue and a reward with a routine that causes the formation of a habit. Advertising has known this for a very long time and uses this phenomenon to sell products. For example, in 1915, PEPSODEN toothpaste revolutionized dental hygiene practices. A couple years prior, when the US began drafting soldiers for World War I, they had so many soldiers with rotting teeth that they declared dental hygiene a national security risk. So in 1915, only 7% of households had toothpaste in their house. Then PEPSODEN arrived. Within a decade of it hitting the market, 2/3 of households had toothpaste in their house. What changed? PEPSODEN didn't do anything novel with their advertising. Every toothpaste company at the time referenced a film that covers your teeth as inviting decay and making your teeth look dull. Now, your mouth purposefully coats your teeth to protect them, so everyone has it. This was a perfect cue. Everyone has the film, and who doesn't want to have a nice white smile? But before PEPSODEN, no one had been successful with getting people to insert the routine of brushing their teeth into that moment when they feel the film. Even though people could feel the film disappearing after brushing, very few people maintained the habit of regular toothbrushing. So what was different about PEPSODEN? Because it wasn't the advertising. Well, it turns out that PEPSODEN contained mint oil, which caused a cool tingling sensation in people's mouths, and sodium lauryl sulfate, which foamed during brushing. Together, these sensations really made people feel like the toothpaste was working and it was pleasant to use. We see this in other products as well: scented Febreze, foaming shampoo, and obviously unnecessary dyes used in so many products. When the product appeals to our senses, it is easier to connect it to a reward. For active habit formation, we need to be aware of ourselves internally to discover these cues and rewards. For each of us, the cue, the reward may be different, even for the same habit. Let's say we want to create the habit of jogging in the morning. The two most cited rewards for those who've stuck to the morning jogging habit for a long time are 1, the endorphin rush, and 2, a sense of accomplishment. If someone sticks to it long enough, then they even crave that feeling and may even become grumpy if they do not get their morning run in. Scientists have studied the reward response in monkeys. They sat monkeys down and had them look at a computer screen. Every time a shape appeared on the screen and the monkey pressed a lever, it got some tasty juice. Once the monkey figured out that the shape plus pressing the lever equaled juice, it stared at that screen, ready to pounce on the lever to get that yummy juice. The scientists had real-time data on what was going on in the monkey's brain during this process. They saw that when the juice hit the monkey's lips, their brain would explode with activity that essentially meant, yay, I get a reward. Over time, however, the brain spike happened when the monkeys saw the shape, not when they had the juice a second later. To the monkey's brain, seeing the shape triggered the reward response. To further test this, they compared two groups of monkeys. Group 1 had done the shape, lever, juice experiment long enough to have associated the shape with the reward, whereas Group 2 only associated the juice with the reward. Scientists introduced a distracting sound, accompanied with a lever that stopped giving juice after a period. With this new experiment paradigm, scientists discovered that the monkeys in Group 2, who only associated juice with the reward, quickly abandoned the screen and non-juice producing lever to go investigate the distracting sound. Whereas the monkeys that had reformed the reward association with the shape stayed, eyes glued to the screen no matter what the distraction. The craving kept them there. So if we keep a habit long enough and our brain associates that activity as a reward, then we have a greater chance of maintaining that habit indefinitely. Unfortunately, the habit needs to exist for quite some time before the switch occurs. Scientists followed 96 people for 12 weeks as they worked on a new habit in their life. These were simple tasks like drinking a glass of water with lunch. Each day they reported on how automatic the behavior felt. On average, it took 66 days for the participants to report that new habit being automatic. Some never reported that feeling during the study. Based on the data, the scientists estimated that the slowest forming habit would have taken 254 days for that person to report that habit as feeling automatic. That is a long time. Why such a big difference? Well, it has been shown that choosing a habit that aligns with our core values or identity tends to be realized quicker in our lives. For instance, if you're already a morning person, becoming a morning jogger would be more natural than a night owl becoming a morning jogger. Getting to the point where a habit is automatic can be frustratingly elusive at times. One large reason for that is accidentally optimizing for the short term instead of for the long term. It is easy to attempt to do too much too quickly, which is significantly more difficult to sustain. If we relate this back to brain activity, the more cerebral activity required to complete the activity, the less sustainable it is. A better way to instill a habit is to make it as easy as possible to keep it. This requires delayed gratification. It will often take longer to reach goals that often motivate us to start the habit in the first place, but makes it more likely for us to achieve the goal. A psychology professor at Stanford named B.J. Fogg modeled this phenomenon using the equation BMAT, where a behavior equals the motivation, ability, and trigger being present at the same moment. So the greater the motivation and ability, and the more noticeable the prompt, the more likely a behavior occurs. Or for the inverse, the easier the goal is, the more likely the behavior is to occur because less motivation and ability are required. Therefore, if we optimize for the formation of the habit, we want to keep the required motivation and ability to complete the goal low so that the habit can become automatic. Then, over time, we increase the absolute difficulty of the task requirements incrementally. This is where the Explorer Log comes in. Each month, we will introduce a wellness theme in Tritons Go, and you will use the Explorer's Log to establish a goal to help you start working on a habit that you would like to form. Filling out the log each day will allow you to keep tabs on your progress as you work on incorporating the habit into your life. In month 1, we are discussing fitness. So if you would like to start a new fitness routine in your life, think about the timing of it. What current habit in your life can you tie that to that makes sense? In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear likes to call these anchors. What is an anchor that you can tie this new habit to? Some example anchors are your morning routine, another is your lunch break, and a third is, sometime after your work or school day. And of course, there are others. After you have identified the anchor, think about a prompt that can get you to remember, I need to do my fitness activity. This could be something like an alarm, or it could be a physical thing that you do, like a certain class or meeting that ends at a certain time, or just walking into your home after your day and immediately bringing up the workout video that you plan to complete. At first, it is not about getting through the entire workout or about pushing yourself. It is just about remembering to do the activity and starting it. It is more important to mark, yes, I did my goal, than it is to log the number of miles completed or repetitions made. Those can come later. It may feel silly at times, but it is important to congratulate yourself for completing the goal, even if it's just a simple fist pump. The feeling of accomplishment will help you continue working on the habit until it becomes automatic. All right, so here's the explorer's log. You can fill out a new day. So mood is just like, I feel happy. Words of affirmation can be just something that makes you feel good. Maybe it's related to your goal. Maybe it's related to something else in your life. And then wellness reflection is just, what does your well-being feel like that day? And then up here at the top, you have this current goal, and you can change that. It just has a little prompt that allows you to set up a new one. I would recommend changing them about once a week to start, because a week is very cyclical and it allows you to evaluate your progress from the past week quite nicely. You can bring up previous days. So I filled it out on the 27th, so I can see what I did then. And whenever you submit the log, it's going to give you a little prompt just so that way you know that you did it. If you have any questions for now, you can just email me at hlockwood, LOCKWOOD, at ucsd.edu. In the future, we'll have some kind of suggestions / like bug reporting feature. But for now, we're keeping things simple. Yeah, so get logging, and I hope that you enjoy the program.